Hello, good evening. Welcome to Hot Edition here on 3FM 92.7. We're coming to you live from our studios here on the John Hammond Street on Adisawe, Kanda. Also live on our numerous affiliates across the country, around the world. We're streaming live on 3news.com. Download the tuning app from the Google Play, Apple, iOS store, and listen to us on the go. Coming up this evening, Speaker of Parliament directs Business Committee to schedule the approval of the 2024 budget for next week. We're taking you live to Parliament for details following what was a walkout by the majority. Also, parents and their children throng solution centers across the country seeking to get placement into senior high schools barely 4 days to the reopening for first years. We have details of these stories, including business, sports, and entertainment, if you stay with us here on Hot Edition. This is Hot Edition here on 3FM 92.7. We're streaming live on Facebook. Our handles 3FM 927. Same handles on Twitter now, X 3FM 927. I am Eric Mawuena Egbeta. You can send a message via the various streaming platforms. Facebook, leave a message in the comment section for us. And on Twitter as well now, X, or tweet at us with the hashtag Hot Edition or my personal Twitter handle at Mawuena Eric. We're beginning this evening's edition of the Bulletin from Parliament because the Speaker has directed the Business Committee to schedule the approval of the 2024 budget for next week. It follows what has been a misunderstanding as to whether or not the budget was passed. The majority had insisted that the Speaker had given a vote of the ayes having it yesterday, which meant that a challenge by the minority was unsuccessful. Let's take it to Parliament now. Kamala Kluche is our parliamentary affairs correspondent for the very latest. Kamala, talk to us. What has informed the decision of the Speaker today?
Well, if you look on the other paper, that clearly captures the inconclusive motion on the approval of the budget. Well, the minority NDC MPs sought clarification from the Speaker. In fact, let me state, even before that, that the House was scheduled to sit at 10 a.m. this morning. They only sat somewhere after 2:30 p.m. this afternoon. There was no explanation regarding why there was that delay. We only got to hear of some caucus meetings and all that, after what transpired yesterday, quite chaotic as it was. And so both sides of the House were in caucus meetings and later leadership meetings. And also, surprisingly, not more than 5 NPP MPs were on the floor today. I can say emphatically that it was only the leadership or the front comprising a majority leader, his deputy, and then his whips, were the only ones that came from the MPP MPs who were on the floor today. But the NDC MPs, together with their leadership, were here on their numbers. And so they raised the matter. When they raised the matter, they sought clarification from the Speaker. The majority leader insisted that, well, as far as they are concerned, the finality has been brought to the matter. Well, the Speaker disagreed with it and indicated that the Business Committee, out of the chaos that transpired, yes, of course, the Speaker was in the process of taking a head count when they staged the walkout, and he subsequently suspended and shortly thereafter adjourned abruptly. And so the Speaker has directed the Business Committee to meet up and be able to have it done as of next week. In fact, even as we speak, we are unclear, or we do not know which day of next week that has to be done, because in the reading of the business statement for the ensuing week, it does appear that if only they estimate for appropriation that has been listed to be considered next week. The minority is indicating that without the policy statement also being captured in there, they were not going to agree. Then the speaker went ahead and instructed that the business committee should do the needful and do the scheduling for next week. Hopefully, they'll be able to do that. But what the NDC MPs wanted was that being captured in the business statement, because yes, it's a house of records. If it's captured, they seemingly does appear to have trust issues herein, and so they wanted it to be properly captured in it. But the speaker intervened and indicated that no, a decision will have to be taken on this. Mind you, the finance minister yesterday said that they were he has
in
approval
his
to expend.
he had approval from Parliament.
This completely this directive from the speaker makes complete, for want of a better word, nonsense what the finance minister has said, and so it means that the approval is still stuck. The House will have to take a final decision on the matter. Mind you, they are approaching recess, and this has to be done early enough so that the government is able to have its way and then do this. But it's quite a laborious thing, because after appropriation, then they also have to be considering the fees and charges as well. The budget comes actually in three folds: the policy statement, and after the policy statement, they consider the estimate of the appropriation. And that is where the details are, and that is where the line-by-line cross-checking and all that will be. The policy statement, it only amounts to intentions and all that, but the allocations and all that are found in the appropriation. That is where the rise then is. And so the MDC MPs say, as far as they are concerned, there's no approval, and this directive by the speaker does confirm the position of the NDC MP.
And for the majority, we've been hearing you speak to what has been the position of the minority to the directive by the speaker. For the majority, I don't want to say X on their faces, but what's been their reaction to the decision of the speaker as well?
Well, the majority leader, Chairman Sabons, is sought to for want of a better word, side with the speaker, but went into clarify that if you look at what is captured on the order paper, there's no question about approval, but where the House got stuck had to do with the head count, and so the wording or the issue of the contention should be limited to the issue of head count. But then he agrees largely with the speaker that the programming should be done for next week so that they are able to bring finality to the matter. But the directive of the speaker clearly makes complete nonsense what the finance minister Ken Ofori-Atta said yesterday, that he has approval for him to expend from the consolidated fund.
Just finally, we know that yesterday the majority had taken concern with what they describe as a deliberate delay on the part of the speaker to allow for the minorities' numbers to grow on the floor of Parliament. Was that concern raised as well today?
Well, yes, it was actually raised by the Deputy Minority Leader Emmanuel Amakofi-Boa, who sought to portray that the majority leader had disrespected the speaker with the comments that he's made and all that. But he rose on his feet to challenge that and indicate that, well, that was never the case. He only sought to put out what the truth was, and that there's absolutely no way that he would disrespect the speaker. He has known the speaker for far too long, and he is not going to do anything to disrespect him. As far as he's concerned, he has done what is necessary. The House took a decision, And after the House took the decision, well, he had to go to town, or he had to speak at that meeting with the press and stated only the truth. The Speaker actually did not respond to all of this. It was a back and forth between him and Nana Akufo-Addo. But then, largely, the Speaker did give his directive, and as it stands now, they are to do a reprogramming of it for next week,
right,
for a decision to be taken.
Komla Kluche is our Parliamentary Affairs correspondent. Komla, many thanks as always for those details. You had to speak to Komla Kluche, our Parliamentary Affairs correspondent. We're going to move our attention from Parliament to education now, because parents and their children today throng the Teachers Hall in Accra and other solution centers across the country seeking to get placement into senior high schools barely 4 days with the reopening for first years. The Ghana Education Service announced the placement for the over 580,000 basic education certificate examination BC students who sat for the exams, with only 81.56% automatically placed in one of their choices. The result is now a race by parents and guardians of the remaining 108,025 to carry out self-placement before the December 4 reopening date for first-year students. Some parents have been speaking to us when our team visited the Nat Hall earlier today.
Oh, I just came to change my daughter's school placement. My daughter first choice is Western girls, but he couldn't get. And only Western girls, she wants to go to. So when I came here, they said I should go to see the education minister, because they don't have access here. So now I'm going to education minister's office. Either you do it for me or not, I can't tell unless I go there.
Yeah, Baba checking my banner and the documents are man. When you school be on the Nakotono, I'll call one, Miss me ban or Yarfo, and Timpesa me call street, no obey me. Until I'm boarding today, Mana Bami.
What was your grade though?
Set 1. My school placement didn't come, so we came here to check.
I got my first choice, but my grandpa said I should change it, so I had to change it to my second choice. My first choice was Laboni Senior High, but he said I should change it to Air Force.
What was your grade?
22.
Me be school. Me wa Accra, me wa Denta Madina. School so ebemi. Ena me ba benye school a ye di na Kumasi for day. Minti bi da. Me ye kurasi ni me nko school na so me ni memra. Me ti Accra na ye fa me ba nko ade Kumasi onko day.
So parents and students alike are speaking there. Let's get on the telephone line. Dr. Peter Partey is the Executive Director of the Institute for Education Studies. Doc, many thanks for speaking to us this evening and for your patience as well. I get the indication you've held the line for quite a while.
That's fine.
So it's been some years, nearly 20 years, since the computerized school placement system was introduced to help deal with a challenge of having to place people in schools after their basic education certificate exams. And yet, it does appear that not everybody is able to get placement when the system is done. What would you attribute this particular challenge to, if it is a challenge at all in your estimation?
All right, thank you very much, and good evening to your listeners. I think that we should commend the people at the CS office, because seen considerable progress that has been made over the years. What really comes to mind is about 3 years ago, where there was a stampede at the Independence Square. I don't know if you remember that incident. And since then, there have been considerable efforts to ensure that the challenges that parents face are addressed. But I think that this issue should be addressed from all fronts. And I always say that we have to first and foremost let parents understand that they cannot leave the selection process and then come back and complain when their students are placed. In most instances, parents do not take key interest in the selection school selection process. That is why somebody will tell you that I am in Adenta and my child has been placed in Kumasi. The first question you should ask the person is, what schools did this child select? It means that the parents have no idea the schools that the child selected. And if you go through the placement system, you would note that truly almost 90% of the schools that students are placed are schools that they selected themselves. So possibly the child selected one of the schools in Kumasi, and that is why the child has been placed in Kumasi. And we need to let parents take responsibility when it comes to some of these things. Of course, the center would have to also up their game and address some of these challenges. Especially today, I heard that there are some students who claim they were placed in schools that they never selected. These are issues that need to be looked at, because if I didn't select a school, then there's no way that the system should place me in that school. Somebody also said that, and I listened to that interview from that young man who said that the grandfather said that he should come and change it. All these words down to the fact that most of us do not understand what this placement issue is all about. Because you select a school, you are placed on merit, and so as and when the algorithm keeps on pushing you to your next favorite school, you should know that favorite school that is number 3 on your list is somebody's number 1. And if it happens like that, it means that if you are not careful, you will not be able to get a school to select when especially your performance is not that okay. Okay, so that is the challenge that we are facing. I think that going forward, we need to have a rethink of how we allow parents to select the schools. We have made proposals. I mean, ISS have made proposals that we should now look at students selecting schools or having the opportunity to change their schools after they have seen their results. I think that would take a lot of the pressure from the system.
But how realistic is that, though, where you see your results or the grades you obtained, and then you want to change the school? Even for starters, on feasibility and the turnaround time to have the placements done, because already I'll come to the concern of short notice to have people return to school and all that.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, but you see, the point is that the proposal is this. You either wait for the results to be released by WAEC, and then based on that, you're allowed to select a school. And with that, most of these, I think one person also said that the daughter wants to go to Wesley Girls and they are not ready to go to any other school. So if you look at your performance and you still think that you deserve Wesley Girls, then you select it. But in most instances, people select schools in anticipation that they will do well. And when the results come and they have not done well and they miss their first and second choices, it becomes an issue. So it's either we wait for results to be released for students or candidates or parents to not select the schools, or we allow them some grace period. For example, the results were released, let's say, last month. You give them like 3 weeks or 2 weeks to edit. Those who want to change the schools based on the performance, they can do that. But I think the more robust proposal will be for the results to be released. Parents know the performance of their students, and then based on that, they select the schools that they think that the performance would enable them get placement. I think that will save us a lot of these things. But of course, you cannot eradicate or you cannot minimize this to the 0%. Maybe we can minimize it to, let's say, 90 or 95%, and that would be a good thing, so that we don't end up in the challenges that we are continuously
we're currently experiencing. Another thing of concern really has to do with the reopening date for first-year students. On social media, particularly Twitter, now X, there's been a lot of debate as to how placement was released on the 28th and reopening is on the 4th of December. Many, including teacher unions, are raising concerns about this. How come we're having a challenge still in terms of contact hours for students, and particularly first years to start off with?
Yeah, I think that this is an issue that we need to first and foremost understand the Ghana Education Service. The calendar was released far ahead of the placement, okay? So we knew that if you look at the calendar, the first years would have to report on the 4th. I think what have caused this challenge is the delay in the release of the placement thing. Because if the placement came like last 2 weeks or last 3 weeks, we wouldn't be talking about the time. So this was set already, and then the placement delayed. I think that there should be some kind of conversation or a brief meeting between management of Ghana Education Service and the teacher unions, so that they can have a striking balance in terms of position to enable the system run. I know that DES wants to make sure that they revert to the old calendar before the COVID, okay, and that is causing all these kind of adjustments to ensure that you fix the times in such a way that by next year or next 2 years you would have gone back to your old calendar. And these are the issues that are coming up. But if parents are complaining, if teachers are complaining, these are strong stakeholders in the system, and they feel that they would need a little time to be able to do what they are supposed to do. I think that it will not be of a bigger issue if GES decides to shift the reopening to early next year. I don't think it will be a big issue. My understanding also is that the schools are accepting the first years. So some of the schools have an online platform. You just have to log in and then or log on and then fill some application form and so on and so forth. Of course, you already have your proposal, which is being centralized. So you get your things and then you can take your work to the school. But of course, you take the work to school on the 4th and it's coming back 2 weeks' time. It's something that GES would seriously have to look at. And
so your proposal is what? That possibly they move it to next year.
I think that it wouldn't spoil anything if they shift the reopening to early next year, maybe first week in January, so that parents can prepare, teachers can have a little time to also have some breathing space and rest, so that they can be re-energized to enter the next academic year. But this is something that the Director General of Ghana Education Service and the management body can have a brief meeting with the teacher unions, and this can be trashed out as early as possible. I don't think this should be an issue of great concern to all of us. I think this can be trashed out within the next few days. Yeah.
Right then, Doc, I appreciate that you could speak to us. That's Dr. Peter Partey speaking to us, the Executive Director of the Institute of Education Studies, speaking to us this evening here on Hot Edition here on 3FM 92.7. And look, Ghana for the second successive year dropped in the annual Press Freedom Index released by Reporters Without Borders RSF in May 2023. And the ranking, we fell from the 60th last year to 62nd in 2023. Among African countries, Ghana placed 9th from its 10th position in the 2022 report. This is Ghana's worst performance in 18 years since it placed 66th in 2005. The drop in Ghana's press freedom comes as state institutions like the National Media Commission stand accused of harassing some media networks. The latest are Onia FM and Onia TV, which have sued the NMC for harassment. On Wednesday, as we've been reporting, to Onia TV and Onia FM sued the National Media Commission for harassing the two stations and taking steps that adversely impact the operations. Well, General Secretary of the Convention People's Party, CPP, Nanaya Jantwa, says the NMC's position on Onia TV and Onia FM is politically motivated. She's been speaking on TV3's New Day.
You see, we should not use regulatory institutions to do our work for us. If anybody is not happy with what Captain Smart has said, the person should go to NMC, complain. There should be a complainant. When it comes to the work of the National Media Commission, there's always a complainant. You need to complain to them. Then they will take up the matter and investigate to find out truly. Because even right now, where is the evidence? They should show us which of the videos. They should have brought it out, made copies, for us to know which of them that he insulted ABCD. You don't just get up and write blanket letters. And you see, that is where the problem is. It's problematic because the president is the one who appoints the NMC chair, a body that is supposed to be independent. The president appoints the executive secretary. Maybe I slipped and I said the chair, but the president appoints the executive secretary. Okay. Because if the president appoints in consultation with the Council of State, an independent person who is supposed to be independent from any form of interference, and the person is appointed by the president, who does he owe allegiance to? The president.
Yeah.
So it becomes immediately it is political. But you see the way the whole letter is written, Bella, it doesn't sit well with this kind of gesture. It shows a form of interference, a subtle interference. You need to have a very objective ear when it comes to what they have written. So what is highest journalistic standards? It depends on who is listening.
That's Nanaya Jantwa, and still on the matter, aide to the NDC flag bearer Joyce Bar Mokhtari said the content of the NMC's letter smack of personal vendetta.
The National Media Commission is a creature of the 1992 Constitution. It is one of those bodies that was set up largely to defend, more than anything, media freedoms generally. That is the duty of the National Media Commission. How has this Media Commission fared since President Akufo-Addo and his Vice President Bawumia came into office? It is anachronistic. It is archaic even to start to ask that in the 21st century, in the year 2023, we have a Media Commission that writes such a personal letter that refuses to give both sides a chance to be heard. And I love the letter from the board chair or the board of Media General, that for the first time we've seen a firmly written response, one that calls out the National Media Commission, specifically the very personal assumed attack from the Executive Secretary, a man who himself is a lawyer, whom I expect to know better. But you know, Bella, I am certainly not surprised.
Joyce Bar Mokhtari's aide to the NDC flag bearer. This is Hot Edition here on 3FM 92.7. We're moving to the subject of illegal mining, also known as Galamsey, because we're learning that the Forestry Commission has arrested 10 persons, including the chief, for allegedly engaging in illegal mining activities in the Manse portion of the Amiaso East Forest Reserve near Diaso in the Bibiani Forest District of the Western North region. The chief of Manse, Nana Kwame Sobre II, and 9 other suspects are currently in police custody. Here is a wrap of exactly what it is that we know. 7 rapid response teams of the Forestry Commission conducted a swoop together with the Forest Services Division from the Commission's headquarters. The operation was to flush out illegal miners from the reserve who were destroying the forest cover and polluting water bodies. The task force immobilized 2 excavators and 2 heavy-duty power generating plants. The coordinator for the Rapid Response Unit, Samuel Dakwakono, cautioned all perpetrators. He insisted that the Forestry Commission is ever prepared to fight them to save the national forests and wildlife resources and protect all the water bodies for posterity. And that was a news desk report. We'll get onto the telephone lines right now and speak to Awula Sewa. She's the coordinator of Eco-Conscious Citizens. Awula, many thanks for speaking to us this evening and for your patience in holding the line as well. I reckon this will not come to you as a surprise, the arrest of a chief for engaging in illegal mining.
Good evening, and thank you for having me. I would say that I'm pleasantly surprised. I think it's a step in the right direction. We heard a while back there Santahini saying that chiefs who were involved in illegal mining should be sued. So we are glad that the Division of the Forestry Commission has acted in a very prompt, decisive manner. And if it's a sign of things to come, this is very, very good news. Because we face a clear and present danger. Our landscape is being poisoned, our water bodies polluted. We need to take robust action. So I'm very pleased with the turn of events.
Pleased with the turn of events, but some will make the case and want to make it quite strongly that even this is still not enough in terms of the distraction which you're speaking to currently.
I would have to agree with them. I did say that it was a step in the right direction. We have the head of the Forestry Commission saying that he had no objections to mining in the forest reserve, referring to Kano Nimiri Forest Reserve. That was totally unacceptable. We have the passage of LI 2460, which virtually allows unrestricted access to our forest reserves, even globally significant biodiversity areas. So one can say that until LI 2462 is repealed, until EI 144, which declassifies parts of Asimota Forest, is repealed, unless or until Dr. Simpon Boateng's report is taken seriously and all those involved investigated, and there's a public inquiry, until the documentary by Erasmus, Poison for Gold, Distraction for Gold, are thoroughly gone into, we are not moving very far. So yes, I would agree with those people. But that's not to say that we shouldn't celebrate tiny milestones.
In celebrating these tiny milestones you speak to, what in your estimation can citizens do in instances where quite openly their chiefs, based on what it is that we're seeing with this arrest, are openly engaged in illegal mining? What in your estimation can be the cause of action that can be taken? Because that's a higher up authority.
Well, I mean, what citizens can do should be to continue resisting. We heard of the citizens who wanted to resist community mining in their area. Because let's be frank, community mining can be another form of damaging our environment and polluting our waters. The fact that they've got permission to do what they are doing doesn't mean that it's not damaging the landscape. And we knew there was resistance, so it was done under heavy police guard. That should tell you something. Individuals like those in Petria-Tronsu and Asemco and others should continue doing what they are doing. Report cases of illegal mining, effect citizens' arrest when they can, when the authorities are not doing what they should do, and do everything by the book. Because you see, we cannot stand idly by whilst our country is being poisoned. What about the next generation? Clearly, we don't care about them. So I would encourage communities to stand up. If they have to effect citizens' arrest, to do so. But we cannot stand idly by and allow Ghana to be destroyed when only a few people are benefiting. And let me be absolutely clear. There's an increase in birth defects, kidney disease, and people talk about jobs being created. Absolute nonsense. Have we gone to look at the other side of the coin, the damage to our environment, damage to our health? I mean, this is completely irresponsible. Meanwhile, we can make money from our forest reserves. You know, there are all sorts of activities, tourism, the green economy. We look at even Kaku National Park. Had there not been an outcry, there was an application to mine there. Because of the outcry, thank God, Minerals Commission had the sense to say that they had rejected it. But you should ask yourself, why did it take so long? Had people not made it quite clear that they wouldn't tolerate it, they would probably have granted the license. So that shows that there's people's power. And people need not to wait till it's Kakum Park where they know before they react. It doesn't matter where it is, whether it's at Tronsu, whether it's at Semcom, it's all part of Ghana. And they are all places that matter. And we should speak out. Any forest reserve that we know is being illegally mined, we should speak out. And that's why I'm saying that the government has been irresponsible, or Parliament, by passing LI 2462, because it's allowing virtually unfettered access to our forest reserves. And we should all stand up and say, no, we cannot do this. This LI must be repealed.
I appreciate that you could speak to us.
Thank you very much for having me.
That's Awula Sewa. She's a coordinator of Eco-Conscious Citizens. You're listening to Hot Edition here on 3FM 92.7. A recap of our top stories this afternoon. Speaker of Parliament has directed the Business Committee to schedule the approval of the 2024 budget for next week. We've also been engaging educationists on the placement system and its annual troubles of parents having to throng solution centers in search of schools for the awards. Peter Patianti, in contributing to this, says if possible, the Ghana Education Service ought to reconsider the reopening dates for the first year students. Another matter that will concern you is that from tomorrow, Friday, December 1, mobile money or Momo agents across the country, they've served notice they will restrict cash withdrawals to a maximum of 1,000 cedis per transaction. This decision is outlined in a joint statement issued by four Momo associations: the Northern Momo Agents Association of Ghana, NOMAG, the Mobile Money Advocacy Group, MOMAG, the Mobile Money Agent Association of Ghana, MAG, and ABAG. Here are some of the Momo agents speaking to us when we went onto the streets today to pick up thoughts on the latest from their leadership.
My commission endorsed, but from 1,000 to 2,009, the commission should be the same. But from above 3,000, and the commission any high, sanction to my point, since 1,000, maybe in Crawford be so I feel so be 1,000, a bebre. But any above way 3,000 the commission a bit my okay, they are fine. So me to mama na increase here, but from 1,000 way. Next one secure ne bar. At first will be 10,000, I'll be 10. It waste time. Crawford no move for crown back.
And so that's a mobile money agent. The move has been met with fierce resistance by some customers who spoke to us.
At the long run, it will affect me as a Momo user, because when they are deducting, instead of me withdrawing 5,000 once, then I'm going to withdraw 1,000. At the long run, they'll be deducting me as time as I cash out the money. So at the long run, it will affect me personally. Yeah. With them going ahead to bring in such measure, they'll lose a lot of customers along the line, for real.
I'm not convinced with that, because I have my own money that I deposited into the account. And then all of a sudden, let's assume I have my own personal challenge and I decided to go and withdraw the money to solve my problem, only for me to get to see that I cannot withdraw the amount of money I'm interested in doing, which is a challenge to me. So I don't see it to be a convenience to my option. It's going to affect seriously to me. I will even advise them to, take a look at it critically to see how to address it than to go forward to do that.
The customers there, and like I mentioned, business is up next shortly. Aminu Afo ready in herself to bring us the very latest from the world of business. But let's do politics now, because one of the must-watch constituencies come December 2, when delegates of the New Patriotic Party go to the polls to elect who represents the party in the 2024 parliamentary elections, is Asawasi. Though a traditional seat for the opposition NDC, the NPP is poised to snatch it ahead of Saturday's primaries in orphan constituencies. My colleague in the Ashanti region, Ibrahim Abubakar, has been to the constituency, which has 3 aspirants hoping to secure the party's tickets for the 2024 polls.
As an orphan constituency in the heart of the stronghold of MPP, the Ashanti region, Asawasi constituency has remained loyal to the NDC since its creation in 2004. The 2020 elections recorded an unprecedented vote margin of over 20,000 in the parliamentary race, with NDC's Muntaka Mubarak garnering 51,659 votes against MPP's Ali Duseidu's 31,256 votes. But the MPP is aiming to capture the Asawasi seat for the first time. 3 aspirants are battling it out to represent the party in the constituency on the parliamentary ticket. A former director for political affairs at the presidency, Manaf Ibrahim, has staged a comeback after he was disallowed to contest in the 2019 primaries. To him, the imposition of a parliamentary candidate for the party in Asawase cost them hugely, but he is confident of winning the seat for the party if given the opportunity to contest as the parliamentary candidate.
Once there is going to be an election, I'm going to win, God willing. I'm going to win. We need to redeem the image of the party in the constituency, that it is not good for our image in the heart of our traditional stronghold that will continue to lose elections. If someone in Hohoe can win a seat for the MPP, how much more one in the heart of Kumasi?
The regional manager of Microfinance and Loan Center, Maslok, and MPP's regional treasurer, Hajia Zainab, has been in the political space for a while, but joining the parliamentary candidate race for the first time. She believes she has the capacity to unite the party for victory 2024.
The problem that we are facing as Asawase is lack of unity. But I'm assuring them that if I become the candidate, or if I will start my campaign, I'll beg them that you should vote for me so that we're able to bring unity among the party. Our intention and our agenda as an MPP is to break the 8. But you can't break the 8 without unity. And for sure, I'm praying that inshallah with me, we'll be able to win as Asawase seat.
For Yusuf Usman, a presidential staffer, he considers himself as the candidate to unseat the 5-time member of parliament for Asawase, Muntaka Mubarak.
It's the first time Honorable Yusuf is coming Asawase and break Asawase. Our challenges is Honorable Muntaka, and we can beat them this time, inshallah, by the name of God. They are going to bring unity Asawase. They are going to bring that things we bring everybody on board and work together and achieve the thing we want to achieve. They beg them to give me the chance. Give me the chance. I hope everything will be well, and this time we will contest and win Honorable Muntaka Mubarak.
Well, the NDC has already maintained the incumbent member of parliament as the party's parliamentary candidate for 2024. But who among the 3 aspirants will face off with Muntaka in the next elections? Delegates will decide on this on Saturday, December 2.
Ibrahim Abubakar with those details. When we return from this really quick break, Menu Aful ready and waiting with the very latest from the world of business. This is Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. Back here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. I mentioned Menu was here ready and waiting with the very latest from the world of business. Menu, what's in business?
Well, the Ghana Trade Center's e-commerce platform is set to boost non-traditional exports. I have these and many more stories coming up shortly. Stay with us. Hello there, good evening and welcome to the business news on Hot Edition. Straight to our first story. The Ghanaian export market, particularly in the non-traditional sector, is set to experience significant growth with the launch of the virtual Ghana Trade Center e-commerce platform. This innovative platform is designed to facilitate initial trading, provide market information, and establish connections with potential buyers to enhance Ghana's export figures. CEO of the Ghana Export Promotion Authority, Dr. Ifua Asabi Asare, noted it aims to promote the Ghana Trade Center concept.
We are still in the process of making it work to its optimal level. We are doing everything we can, such as citing our trade houses in strategic markets. And we started with Kenya in May. and he's doing very well. But it will even do better if we can complement it with an online or e-commerce platform where people can also sell there. It doesn't always have to be brick and mortar. So this is how you find us here this morning launching this particular program, which has been put together by the EU, supporting GEPA to come up with an e-commerce platform to support what we have as the brick and mortar trade houses that we are looking to site in various markets around the world.
That was Dr. Ifua Sabiasare, CEO of the Ghana Export Promotion Authority. Away to more stories. The Vehicle Asset Dealers Association of Ghana has expressed deep concern that implementing the ban on the importation of specific goods in the country could spell doom for its members' businesses if implemented. Therefore, the association is calling for the legislative instrument to be set aside to protect their interests and thousands of employees who depend directly on them.
The bill has encountered significant resistance since its introduction, drawing opposition from various quarters, including the Ghana Union of Traders Associations, GUTA, the Importers and Exporters Association of Ghana, and the minority in Parliament. The Vehicle Asset Dealers Association of Ghana has recently joined this opposition.
The restrictions, the content of it is very, very, very serious and very, very dire. And there is no way that this can help our businesses. So we are calling on the Parliament, both majority and minority, all the civil society organizations, and the good people of Ghana to come in support of this, our particular statement that is issued this very afternoon, that we as a government and the Parliament with immediate effect and as a matter of urgency to dismiss and withdraw this particular draft bill.
The looming question remains, what repercussions will the current implementation of this policy have for industry players such as vehicle importers?
If I don't have a job to do, I have to go and stay at home. Apart from that, what again? Because nobody is going to employ me to be working for the person. Because the person might say that my demands will be higher than what he may be expecting to give me at the end of the month. And it's going to affect me and my dependents and all those that I even work with.
The Trades Ministry has justified the move to ban the importation of selected items, arguing that this is to protect and boost local industries. However, for car dealers, this will mean jeopardizing their source of livelihood. Michael Obodu, 3 Business, Accra.
And that was a report by my colleague Michael Obodu. That brings us to the end of the business segment on Hot Edition. Kelvin Owusu-Ansah will soon join in for the sports news.
Yeah, you did great with that introduction. Many thanks. Many thanks for bringing us the very latest from the world of business. And like she said, it's time for sports. Europa League is up hot, but we know that the CAF Champions League as well is flaming hot for us this weekend. Kelvin has joined us in studio with the very latest on that front as well this evening here on Hot Edition. Kelvin, what's in sports?
Mawuena, there's a lot going on. This weekend seems to be a very busy weekend for that is Ghana. But let's start from the camps of the Black Queens, and they are in action tomorrow at 3:30 p.m. at the Accra Sports Stadium as they look to cross the final hurdle of the 2024 Women's Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers. Ghana facing Namibia at exactly 3:30 p.m. in the first leg of the final eliminator to ensure they secure qualification for the biggest women tournament on the continent. The last time the Black Queens participated in this competition was as far back in 2018 when Ghana hosted it in Accra. So hopefully tomorrow they are going to make Ghana proud. Now to the CAF Champions League, and Mediama SC would also be in action at the Barbara Sports Stadium in Kumasi as they host CR Belouizdad in the second game of the CAF Champions League at the Barbara Sports Stadium. Well, head coach of Mediama SC, Augustin Evans-Adote, is confident of bagging all 3 points at home.
All that I want to see come tomorrow, I'm not going to predict. It is my mission that tomorrow Mediama will have to carry the day. Whether we will score 2, 3 or 1 at the end of the game, I want to see my team coming out or winning, carrying the day. That is all.
Well, that is from Augustin Evans-Adote. Now let's have a quick listen to that is Marcus Paqueta, who is the head coach for CR Belouizdad on the game tomorrow.
You not think in the past, that's the game today, tomorrow. You cannot think in the story. Story it's important, but you have to focus in the game. You have to focus in our strategy. You cannot think that you treat the game. It's like our qualification, because you have two strong games outside. That's our key in this competition if you want qualifying.
If you want to qualify, you need to take every game seriously. Now moving away from that to the Sports Writers Association of Ghana President Kwabena Yeboah, who has been inaugurated for another term after going unopposed in the SWAG elections. Well, he's called on the Ministry of Finance to release funds to the local organizing committee of the 13th Africa Games to be held in Accra to complete all preparations. The president of SWAG made this plea during the inauguration of the new executives.
Hoping and appealing to the Ministry of Finance, to the government, to assist the Ministry of Youth and Sports to ensure that the infrastructure, the pace, the rate at which we're developing the infrastructure would be rapid. Again, we are not convinced about the resources put at the disposal of the disciplines as they prepare for the Africa Games. And again, I use this platform to appeal to the state to pump enormous resources to the preparation of all the disciplines. If the Minister of Finance is listening, this is the time for him to sacrifice and understand the enormity of the task that we have picked on our shoulders.
So that is from Kwabena Yeboah there. Now let's move away from this. We'll be speaking about Mohamed Kudus. But first of all, let's turn our attention to a big one that will be coming up. And the Ghana Football Association, the GFA and MTN have agreed to extend their partnership deal for the FA Cup for an additional 3 years. This partnership, which began in the 2010-2011 season, has been renewed several times. Most recently in 2020, the MTN FA Cup is a highly anticipated honor competition that brings together 110 clubs from across Ghana, including 18 Premier League teams, 48 Division 1 League clubs, and 44 Division 2 League clubs from the 10 regional football associations. The tournament begins with a preliminary round featuring Division 1 and Regional Division League 2 sides, followed by the main competition at the round of 64 stage, where the winners join the 18 Premier League clubs. Now, notably, the Ghana FA has also renewed the terms of the partnership between them and BetPower for the Ghana Premier League. Now, there is no headline sponsor for the Ghana Premier League, but BetPower would be partners of the league, who will be given 400 Ghana cedis as locker room bonuses to the players, direct benefit of a squad of 23 who managed to win a game instead of the 150 Ghana cedis they were initially given. This comes as part of the restructuring of the deal between GFA and BetPower. BetPower will still continue to construct the artificial pitches, or the pitches that they promised to do for the Ghana Football Association. Now let's have a quick look at the UEFA Europa League, and Ghana midfielder Kudus Mohammed is missing from West Ham's team this evening due to an illness. West Ham currently facing TSC Baka Topola at the London Stadium. The game has already started. 10 minutes played and it's still goalless between the two sides. There's also another game currently ongoing. Freiburg play against Olympiacos and they lead Olympiacos by 2-0 in the same group. That is Group A. Currently, West Ham sits second with 10 points from 5 games. AEK Athens nil, Brighton also nil. And there are other games coming up. Marseille against Ajax. There is Sparta Prague against Real Betis, as well as Atalanta drawing goalless currently against Sporting Lisbon. Liverpool play against Lask, and they are missing the services of goalkeeper Alisson Becker and Diogo Jota. That will be all for Sports, Mawuena.
Right then, but this BetPower, GFA thing, how did it all go bad?
Well, we hear that it hasn't been revealed, but from our close sources, we hear that BetPower haven't been impressed with the marketing of the league, and especially the terms and conditions that the GFA had to also fulfill their part. And looks like the GFA have failed on their part. They wanted to withdraw entirely, but they think that no, there should be some benefit to the players who have played for them to earn some level of mileage in the last 12 weeks of the opening season of the 2023.
So we're supposed to properly market our league.
Exactly. You don't see anything from our league. Yeah, the marketing has been poor. Visibility is extremely on the low, and I think the GFA have failed. Their primary responsibility is to develop these products which are their core mandate, not even the national team. The national team is just for the sports ministry and sports authority to make better. They are only caretakers of that.
My concern is if there's an acknowledgement on the part of the GFA as to these concerns that
they will never acknowledge it.
They've not done what is expected of them in marketing the league.
They won't acknowledge it. But it's very clear. It's very visible to everyone who has followed the Ghana League. And this comes as a bit of a problem. If you have clubs getting only $28,000 from this deal and now they are not getting anything at all, it's just sad. So sad.
How are we
so
funding
sad.
all of that? How are the clubs surviving?
It's difficult. That is why football in Ghana is gradually sinking deeper and deeper, because if you don't have someone who is willing to invest in an area where it is very difficult to recoup any sort of benefits, then the person would always decline investing. So for those who are engaging in football, investing in football, I think it is more like charity for them.
Charity.
Yeah.
Interesting. This is a sport that I love, football. Yeah. I absolutely
it's sinking.
love football.
It's sinking, you know. Everything seems to be in jeopardy in this country. You know, you look at the Africa Games we expected to host it last year. Now we are just 99 days away, and you look at the progression of works at the various facilities. It doesn't look encouraging. I'm not too sure whether they are going to finish, but they've promised that
because we postponed it.
Exactly, latest by the
from
end
this
of
year to next year.
Yeah, latest by the end of December 2023, we are going to see something. So we just wait. We have 31 days left in December. Wait to see if they are going to complete. So we have a very good facility and then Games Village.
Listening to Kwabena Yeboah speak to this, one of the things I was asking myself is even if we're going to be able to win any medal at this All Africa Games.
And that's a major problem, you know. With all these, they are not paying attention to the principal actors. But I always say, if you take very good care of your principal actors and they get the mileage out there, you're going to recoup all these benefits. And I haven't seen that. We've seen us lose athletes, Ignatius Geyser and the rest. Now we've lost a couple of athletes to the Netherlands, to even some to Ukraine, Germany, all because they think that representing the national colors isn't worth it. So it's a whole lot. And I think we failed as a nation. The National Sports Authority, the Ministry of Youth and Sports, not talking about one particular government, but successive governments and successive leadership haven't done enough. We've just been sinking, and we keep watching, just looking at the pump and pageantry at very short periods. But in the long term, there is no vision.
And even our Black Stars now is sick.
It's zero. Yeah, it's zero.
Yeah. Kelvin, many thanks as always.
A pleasure having
with the sports. Kelvin Owusu helping us end this evening's edition of the Bulletin. And listen, look, it is really sad if you look at what it is that people are able to do with sports in developing talent and making or helping people and a living for themselves. It's a big deal when you go outside in Germany, and more often than not there's a blueprint. But that's our bulletin for you this evening. Our top stories: the Speaker has redirected or directed the Business Committee to schedule the budget approval for next week. There'll be a lot more on this for you if you stay with us here on 3FM 92.7. The weekend is starting early. It's a holiday tomorrow, Farmers' Day. We say a big congratulations to all our farmers. To enjoy the rest of the evening. The 3FM drive continues with a lot more tunes to take you home, even as reports indicate there's a lot of traffic in town. I am Mawuena Egbeta. As always, a lot more news if you log on to 3news.com.